welcome to another edition of the podcast Mexico and the World, the podcast so that we can talk about events, celebrations and more about Mexico and the world. This time, we are going to talk about something very important, that is the commemoration of the Day of the Fallen in service. This above all. It talks about those who work in the police and celebrates those who have fallen in the line of duty, those heroes as we call them, who are there to care for and help the population. Let us be aware that there are still many police officers who are good and who care about the population. Let us also be there supporting our heroes in service, and we commemorate the memory of those who have fallen for helping others. There is also United Nations Day, which, as you know, is a very important organization at the world that tries to help in every way. For example, in political matters, that of war, that conflicts, that in food. Then the United Nations is there worrying about the health and well-being and peace of the general population worldwide. So it is important that the United Nations continue with its work and that the countries take it into account and also heed the recommendations of the United Nations. This also leads us to remember that many times, thanks to the United Nations, other organizations that also support, for example, in terms of food, in terms of peace, in terms of health, enter the countries that need it. So let us support the United Nations in what we can and hope that the countries also support the United Nations and pay attention to them in their interventions, as we mentioned. In a very pleasant topic for those who like to talk about food and who like to cook and enjoy it, we have World Food Day. Pasta then for all those who, as I said, like this type of dish because they can commemorate it with a good dish of good pasta. You already know that many like Italian pasta, but there are also those who like those Asian dishes that are also used in pasta and that are very different from Italian dishes. So let's also celebrate this day of pasta and celebrate if you can by eating good pasta. This is all for the moment. We want to thank you for listening to us and not saying goodbye without reminding you of our social networks email, Podcast Mexico and the World at gmail.com, Twitter, at Mexico the World, Facebook, Podcast Mexico and the World, YouTube Mexico and the World. Thanks again for listening to us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next edition. Thanks, bye.